You're fine. You're fine. I mean, it still goes into context of the three of spades.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I
something
mean,
together. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
because you're talking about your devotion to spirituality, and the three through what three art forms or three forms of expression, or what was it? The sweat lodge
Oh,
and
it's like it's the use of the moon, it's the sweat lodge, it's the use of the elements, it's prayer ties, it's shared prayer for women, for their families, so it's like it really is a container that could do a lot of the work and of course my shared leadership stuff that you guys were turned on to, that's the way I would lead out. And I was hesitant at first to get involved in something that existed, but because so many things are waking up to that, I can be in it from my way of being in it. I don't have to be the traditional way and do this and this. I got to go to it with what I bring to a prayer like that, as far as the families and the children and the music, but still keeping a sacred container in the way that it's been prescribed. And the minute I said yes, I can't even tell you how many things came together. And it's amazing how when we can't see our full potential, how we can actually limit what wants to come to us. And because I had never seen that. Not that I didn't always want to do sweat lodges for the rest of my life and play with the moon forever and pray and dance and sing.
But it's so much fun.
I love that stuff. I mean, like, I just love it. Like, I just love everything. Makes me so happy. But now I'm able to do it in a way that I can help inspire other women to find their true gifts and align to who they are during these shifts. And that's really kind of exciting. And it's not done. I still have a couple of years to finish my classroom there. But while finishing it, I'm grooming these groups to be able to do these things. And now I kind of know where I'm going and what I'm doing. So that's helpful. And I know the cards are going to be a huge part of it because I cannot stop seeing the patterns in these families.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's obsessive, right?
Right.
No, it's funny because I do those things, but just in my own, like I follow the moon very much. Like I'm very tuned in where the moon is, which I think everybody should be. I think it's extremely beneficial because I'm so excited that the moon is moving into Capricorn later on this evening because I love, which is crazy.
I
love it because I get things done. Like I feel accomplished with that energy. Like it's like, yes. Like I get organized, which is, that's a thing. Like, y'all, come on. Like me having my shit together is a thing.
Remember a while back when we were talking about how the moon days changing is very similar to our daily card?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You in the transit. So I've noticed the transits, what the moon is doing. It is the card of that day. So I really do feel the connection of the moon is really, it's on that side of it. So, but then when you said the sweat lodge, I go, I go to my class, but after my class, I go sit in a sauna. Like it is my I don't like missing that. Like it's become I'm almost addicted to it.
All right, let's put up a plan to do a sweat lodge together someday. Pinky
I know that might be a little out of my comfort zone, like sweating with a whole bunch of random people, but I like sweating in my own, the one that there's maybe another person in there.
Okay.
But yeah, but I think that is like probably some of the best things I do for me. And I don't miss it. Like I put my kid in camp over the spring break because I was like, yeah, I'm not missing class. You gotta go to camp. When her sister was at the other school and she wasn't here, I put my younger one in a camp because reasons being, like I work from home. She could have been home with me, but that meant I would have missed my class in my sauna. Like, nah, not for the whole week. So yeah. But I get like it's important to me, and I'm usually, giving up what I want to do for others. So it felt like, no, I needed to do that.
And the thing about the sweating, sauna wise or sweat lodge wise, it really does change our chemistry, right? Like sweating it out. Like I remember being in therapy when I was in college, and the therapist saying to me with like such a sincere face, such a serious lady going, "So what you're telling me is, you go to sweat lodges to manage your emotions and to move them through." I'm like, yeah. And she's like, well, what about how you feel? I said, oh, believe me, I cry in there, I sing in there. Like, I'm not letting anything not come out. But the sweat lodge is the safe place to give it back to the earth, meet the elements, and clean it up and bring it back out shiny again. Going here and talking to you and deep diving it and remembering it and then sitting with it all day, that hasn't served me yet.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I don't need to get it heavier on me. I need to get it off of me.
Yeah. I like the purge. I like the,
Yeah.
it feel like when I do it, like I leave my class and I go straight to the gym and I don't even do anything. I go straight to the locker room area, right to the sauna. I've gotten to where I can do a good 15 I can do solid. I try to push for 20 now, and I'm getting, there's a few 20s that I can get in the week. Some weeks I'm like, I got to get the hell out of here.
Are you singing and praying in there? Are you doing mantra? Are you singing, praying, toning? What are you doing?
I like to stretch. When I first go in, I put my legs up on the wall, because I like the drainage that can happen there. And then I'll usually do some stretching. I've made some friends, like these older ladies who I love. Oh my God, I love them. I'm actually going to be hanging out with them on Saturday.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and it's funny. You know what's crazy? This is a crazy story. I'm gonna tell y'all because you'd be the only ones that would get it. And anybody else watching us. The day that this lady came into the sauna, it was so like crazy. She looked just like my Nana. Like it was scary. Oh. So much so that, we've talked a few times. I've actually shown her a picture. I was like, look, like it's really like a thing.
Is she King of Diamonds, Nana?
My Jack of Diamonds. Oh, and the day, listen though, get this. The day that happened, the day she came into the sauna, guess what my card was that day? The Jack of Diamonds. My Nana's card. I was like, you're her. In some way. But every time I see her, I like see my grandmother, and I see her often in the gym because she gets done with her class and she'll come in the sauna and what is it? I don't even know her card. I haven't gotten to like, when's your birthday? But I was like, oh, so like, that's just something that I think how I connect the cards and now every time I see her, it's like, it just feels like, and she even says, how's my family doing? How are my kids? Because I've talked to her about my kids and everything. So it's been fun.
What is her card?
I don't know. I'll find out though. I promise. I'll report. Don't worry. I'm real good at like just starting up a conversation and getting the information. Just give me some time.
Yeah, when people start talking, I'm like, when's your birthday?
Yeah. Like, that's it. Don't go no further. I need to
go down here. Tell me what's going on. But first, when's your birthday?
Right.
Crazy. And for example, and for the audience, those are certain ways that we look at energy. Like Jean said, people may call us crazy, but it's like it's too much of a coincidence to deny the energy and what happened, because it's like, even if you didn't look at the cards, it was there. It was like energy for you to.
You can't deny it.
Yeah,
you can't deny it. Like, come on, I was blown. I sat here. I was like,
July, August, and September don't have a 3 of spades. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, 3 of spades and June. That's June. The last time. The June the 2nd is the 2 of spades. June the 1st is a 3 of spades. Yeah. The spades are from January up until June. Is July is the last spade.
So a half a year.
Yeah, same thing. And then the hearts come the latter half of the year. But it's interesting that the weeks are the hearts at the beginning of the year, where the spades are during the day, and then the spade weeks come when the hearts show up at the end of the month. And majority of the hearts, I think all but maybe 3, maybe 4, transform into spades. So there's and even in Robert Camp's book, he talks about the connections between the hearts and the spades, or like in the diamond, there's certain different, suits that do better with each other than others. There's something, I think, because, I always say how we like to play. We like work. Why? Like, that's not fun. But them spades are like, come on, you got to do this. Or looking at you like, I don't marijuana. So we have to find that balance. We have to find the balance of, having the fun and also putting in the work.
Yeah, and by the time the year is ended, nobody's feeling like working.
See, they all want to just play,
Yeah,
It's
but
so much better.
but all the whole conversation and just in general, I've just been listening. I always say, like, in context, the conversation is like we channel these energies in conversation. How we started was speaking about Madeline cleaning up her art room, and clearing out the space to garner all of the activities that you have going on. The 5 events. So you listed 3 earlier. I was like, that's kind of coincidental. They're going to all the events that's taking place, but the 3 space is the artist, the card of labor, bringing in wisdom, and I think there is a channeling that happens. There's it's actually referred to as in the book as a card of like channeling, and there's this art picture this picture in LA on the wall. It's a lot of graffiti if anyone finds it if they're in LA, of this skeleton on fire, and he's like in this praising form of this Buddhist form, meditating, right? And I always attribute that to like the 7 of spades, in some type of way, of like you're on fire, but you regenerating, you clearing out your energy, and setting everything on fire for something new, you know. And the 3 of spades has the 7 of spades and Neptune. So in itself, it says it's a real, sometimes a sickly card, right? It can go through like health difficulties,
They're
confusion,
hypochondriacs.
and
I mean,
health.
I think because of that 7 of spades and Neptune, it is what it is. And they stress themselves out.
Yeah,
Y'all threes have that ability.
yeah, most definitely. And also someone stressing me out about paying the. We'll talk about that I guess later, but paying them for a deductible. I'm like, oh my god. He's asked me like 30 times. Are you? I seen you haven't paid the deductible. I accidentally messed up my rental car. It's like a small dent. Yeah, if it was a enterprise, they probably wouldn't charge me for it. But because it's through Toro, of course he's going to charge me for it, and I have to pay the deductible. But he texted me this morning. I'm like, oh my gosh, it has to be a 3 spades week, because he is worrying me to death. But yeah, just in context, the I see the 7 of spades as a very health oriented card, but it's like the medium between your higher self and your lower self. You can either um, release everything that's taking place, all the negative energy, all the bad feelings, and I think through meditation or through a sweat lodge is like what other way to release like than through a sweat lodge, and I think that's very 3 of spades, especially it being in Neptune as well, through isolation, like Gina said. I don't want to really do it with anybody else. I'd rather sweat by myself, right, and go through
And
these.
in truth, that's how they started. There was never anyone else there. I was in my backyard by myself, building these little huts and making these fires and doing it all by myself because I needed that solace from my family. So I completely understand. Like I'm not like thinking like, oh, you have to have people there. No. But
Yeah.
I do know that when you're with yourself fully and present, it doesn't matter who's there. Because you're with the elements, you're with everything. It's not like that. It's just, I don't know. But I know people do get all hung up on stuff, but that's just one of the things I don't get hung up on. Like once I'm centered and I know what's up with me, you really can't take me out of my spot too much, because especially when it comes to prayer, it's like there's nothing more important. Like whatever's happened to you isn't more important than my connection to the song or my breath or the elements. Because I'm not going to serve you or anyone, or myself included, if I'm lost in the sauce.
Yeah.
So like that part of me just always is kind of like the older sister kind of thing. It's like chaos is going on. I'm like, all right, let's go. You gotta pay attention, you know, like, so when I'm in a place like that, it's like, it's not about, I mean, it's about the elements. It's about this staying present. I'm present, but I'm definitely not like worried, like, oh my God, did my leg touch your leg? Oh my God, I'm sorry. It's like, whatever.
It's an internal connection that you have with the universe. And that's why I said channeling. I think um, if people are into channeling in the sense of channeling, I think everyone has the ability to. But in isolation, I think you get the most clarity sometimes,
Mhm.
without the interference of other people's opinions or other people's ways. I think those old tales of men going out into the jungle or whatever it is for their rites of initiation to get closer to spirit or who they are and their tools of channeling, and especially like for three of spades, they have a nine of hearts and a seven of clubs. So people can interfere with them a lot. They have to worry about worrying about other people. Giving too much to others. So I think finding that isolation and finding that space helps you to channel better for yourself, because you don't have the interference from all these other opinions, energies, and techniques. And it also says three of spades don't take advice well, so but using whatever it is, the advice, but not letting it interfere with your well-being and who you are and your personal spirit, is best.
Do threes take advice well?
No, I don't think so. And I went and as a three of diamonds, I have to say that it's gardening the advice and making sure that it's not interfering with my own personal intuition. Because I can be doubtful, I can be fearful. So I think I need proof, especially this third space. I have the jack of spades somewhere, so I need proof a lot of times. I may not believe it, unless it's proven or I can see something tangible or physical of the result or wherever it may be. And oh yeah, that's what the five of clubs. That's one thing about them. They don't take on. They believe that everything is subjective. Everything that happens isn't definable or relatable to the person. It's relatable to their personal experience. So it's like that's not my personal experience, so therefore it cannot relate. And which is very interesting. That's the argument that I had with my dad the other day. Just yesterday. He's like, "Yeah, I tried to do all of this and give you all of this." I was like, "Yeah, you give me great advice, but you don't know me, so therefore you're
Oh,
not advising me on the things that I want to do." It's like
nice.
telling a basketball player to go outside and throw a football around. It's like, how does that relate to me?
That's awesome, Rashad. I really think that's a beautiful piece that you just brought in. It's like, I hear you that you want to guide me because, whenever you see somebody kind of going this way, and that way, you want to kind of throw something at them, right? But like what you're saying is, you got to know me and kind of know my values and what's important to me before you start adding to me.
Hmm. Yeah, and then threes are very creative, so it's kind of hard to give a creative person advice because they're gonna find a way to do it different regardless, especially like a three of diamonds, queen of diamonds. We want to be unique, I don't want to be like everybody else. I'm probably not going to do it like everybody else. And the three of spades as an artist, they're not going to do it like everybody else. They're going to find a different way to do it. And use their creative energy to manifest something that may not have even been seen or heard before. So I think that's the power within the threes, and something that they value is their creative ability. In all threes, they're going to get variety, and like the three of hearts, they're not going to be in relationships that may be traditional to everyone else, or that have the traditional gender or traditional cultural background as their family, or it's going to be someone from a whole different atmosphere. So you can't their parents or anyone that may advise them on marriage, it may not apply to them. They want to experience a lot of different cultures, a lot of different people, places, and things.
I think some of the more challenging energy with those threes, because they have, you know, the sevens and the nines in their spread.
She loves those sevens and nines, right?
You know, I think because they represent such an abundant energy, but I feel like if they look outside of themselves for that, like clarity or validation, or, you know, it's something they have to trust themselves. I think that's the biggest thing, because they have those, like the three of clubs is a seven of spades in Pluto, three of hearts has a seven in Pluto, three of spades has a seven of spades and Neptune, and a nine of hearts. I can't remember what their Pluto card is off the top of my head, but either way, there, you know, you see, and the other threes have the nines and the sevens even more. So it's about trusting themselves first and foremost, and then being able to kind of go out and create, you know, and those options. Because I think if there's uncertainty, again, like how I said earlier, the three of spades can be very hypochondria. You know, they can worry themselves. It's all of the threes, you know, they're cards of worry, they're cards of indecisiveness. But again, I think it comes from lacking of believing in themselves, believing in their own creativity, their own capability, their own, you know, because when you look at it, three of them transform into fours. The only one that doesn't transform into a four is the three of hearts. It transforms to the nine of spades. So they have, so to me, it's like they go through these ups, the sevens and nines, like, you know, the valleys, the roller coaster, whatever. But yet they always end up solid, you know, on secure ground, on that, you know, that everything's going to be okay. You know,
I think it has something.
Rashad doesn't believe that.
And hello from Nigeria. We got someone from Nigeria. We worldwide.
Yeah.
I saw that. I was gonna
And
say
the four of clubs at that.
Look at that. She said, I think also for the threes, they want to have the material wealth. They want to know they're okay financially.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that adds a lot of like pressure to the character. Because I can see that when that stuff is more settled, that energy is more settled, and when that's not settled, that energy is not as settled. And
exactly,
I mean, yeah, that's all of us, right? But I mean, that particular card seems to really want to be able to show their value and be creative, and have that, you know, their ability to take care of their stuff, right?
Well, like Rashad said, he needs to see it in the tangible. That means you have to have faith that that's going to come.
Right.
And I think they struggle with that too. Like, no, I need that. It's got to be like right here before I even believe it. This is even happening. You know?
Also, there's the other side of that where you have faith it's going to come and you just keep spending it like it's going to come. You know? There's that part of that.
You got to live in reality too. Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, the three of spades transforms to the four of diamonds. So, you know, that worry, that's a very stable card to transform into, you know? So I really do feel like if threes just knew, you know, they would be a little bit more solid and see that some of the worry and the stress is most of their own doing. And if they can really stay present and stay in the now. And I'll never forget, you know, I tell this story all the time about how I had the three of clubs as my Mercury card for one day. And my God, I was like, whoa, this is what they do. Oh no. Like, the way my mind went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And like, I mean, I imagined and created like death scenarios in my head. It was awful. And I remember I went out and played with my little one. We played laser tag in the front yard, and it just everything I was stressing about melted away. And that's when I realized, I was like, they have to play, like, because you're such a creative energy, there has to be an outlet for that like, oh my God, you know, they have to, if they don't have an outlet to express, I think that's almost like you get backed up. That's why I've noticed a lot of threes have digestive issues. Their stomach, because I think they're holding on to the emotions so much, the fear so much, and it's just about having an outlet. And I think that's where you know, we're saying like, that's not conducive to me. You have to do what's conducive to you. You know, what is your outlet of expression? Because they're strong cards of expression. So what is the outlet, and can you manage all that energy, because it can be a lot, it can be very overwhelming. And that's where it's connected to the sevens, because when it gets overwhelming, you've come out of the now, you've come out of the present. They worry themselves about stuff that really hasn't even happened yet. I've noticed it. And then until you can kind of get them back into the now and just breathe through it, they'll be, they can usually,
and that compromises
settle.
the spiritual gifts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you're not going off that faith, that intuition,
Right.
or the advice that may have
Right.
been given.
Yeah.
And worried about, like you said, things that haven't even happened. And that's the seven of clubs. I just posted that the other day,
Mm-hmm.
especially for three of spades, is worrying about things that haven't even happened. And I have to say, I have a seven of hearts in Venus, so sometimes in relationships, I worry about things that haven't even happened within my relationships, and that can hold me back from being the best, within my relationships,
Mm-hmm.
or having the best relationships that I could have. So
Yep. And those, I really wholeheartedly believe that if every three just had an understanding of their energy, their life would be less stress. Because they can
Rashad, you want to have like a 3 support club?
Yeah.
I don't know if all of us do each other justice, but yeah, we definitely need some fours and some kings maybe around.
But I think that's, and when people have threes in their spread, it's the same thing. Understanding that energy, understanding what it's asking, and like where can you, create without the worry, and like and from a space of relaxation, from a space of present, from, and rather than a space, because I also feel like the threes will jump and move to something just out of fear, and then it's actually the worst thing for them.
Mm.
It can then snowball into a longer effect of a chaos, because they moved out of that fear rather than having faith and trust, and feeling content with the decision. Or sometimes they'll move out of, impatience or worry. It can be impulsive energy too.
Yeah, definitely impulsive. I can be very, very impulsive.
Mm-hmm.
Going against my better judgment or
Again, trusting
better
yourself.
intuition. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not going with my first
Yep.
intuition, first judgment. Second guessing myself is definitely an issue.
Mm-hmm.
And then you become regretful and just more fearful after that, right?
It literally
It's-
then can snowball. So that's
yeah,
why I find, you know, even, whether you're a three or you got heavy three and you're yearly or weekly, whatever it is, you'll when you connect that, you'll feel it, you'll see it. But it also can be a very fun energy. I think threes are very social. They can be very fun. They can be very playful. Remember, they're a creative energy. They're an abundant energy, but they have to believe that. They have to see that. You know what I mean? Like they have to know that, and I think that's key too.
yeah. And like if it shows up in a yearly or in some sense, it's like taking on a job that doesn't pay you well. You probably should wait out and something else better will come that will sustain you financially, but because a lack or a fear, and because you're in need, you jump on the first thing that, instead of giving yourself time and seeing what else may come. And then because of that, you end up having 3 to 4 jobs, and now you just now you're trying to fix the fact that you're not getting paid enough.
Yeah.
So a lot of times threes can diffuse their energy into too many places, because of that lack, because of that fear, and not being able to concentrate and focus on the things that they probably should or want to do.
Spot on. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And to flip it is to say you should be creating multiple ways to, thrive. That's your superpower.
Mm-hmm.
But if you live in the lack and the fear that it's not going to materialize, or have the patience for it to materialize, because that's another thing too. I want it now, rather than put in the, that work that, and really commit to it. That's another thing too. Commit to it. Stay with it. Oh, it didn't work for this week. I'm out.
I think when you're trying to do a bunch of things at once,
yeah,
compromises your work and all the parts, right? Do you know what I mean? Like diversing ourselves too much keeps us from really kind of growing the gold, if you will, the pressure that comes with alchemy.
Yep, absolutely. I think that's, another part of that. And again, they're they're a very, it can be a lot of energy. So having to, whether it's your mind, whether it's your emotions, whether it's your, your values, or your work, they've got, again, I think finding that balance of, I think that helps them stay in a creative state of mind, and really be, again, having those outlets is key, because when they kind of back up, right, that's when I feel like those sevens really drag them, in the digestion and the stomach and the gut. They can kind of be a sickly energy, right, because of that they don't have. Again, I feel like that's a really big thing to kind of comprehend and break down, is how, like, it can really be, if they don't have a place to put this stuff. I feel like you get clogged, and in both physically and everywhere, and you find that the digestion can be a problem too, and it's connected to those sevens for sure.
Yeah, we were on gosh, what was Clubhouse, and we was doing readings live, and someone had a three of spades. I don't know if they were displacing the three of spades, or if they just had the three of spades. But and that's one reason that I kind of even dive into the cards more and more, because sometimes you say things and see things, and you look at it as just the book just speaking or talking. But I was telling them, well, you have a three of spades, you're placing a three of spades, you probably went through a lot of changes, maybe in your digestive system or your diet, or you may have went to the doctor and feel like they may have misdiagnosed you in some type of way, right? So there could be some changes around your diet, or maybe you need to go into a more natural diet, and lo and behold, it was true, so there was changes within the diet. They said that they went to a doctor and got an allergen test, and now they're looking at different things they can eat, or different things they may have to um, use to kind of for their health, so. And that's why, like I said, that seven of spades and Neptune, and it just being a three of spades, which is around health and those things, is important, because we attain that to the earth. The winter is the time period where, a lot of people can go hungry, so health and all those things that are symbolically around the spades. So yeah, the health aspect and the fear and worry and having gut issues. I'm a three of diamonds, and I have a seven of hearts in Venus. So a lot of my issues come around eating in the type of foods I eat as well. The seven of hearts is like the food Nazi, right? Um,
Yes.
that's Dr. Sebi's card, actually. So uh, yeah, so what about the three of spades, the three of diamonds? The three of hearts has a queen of clubs and a ace of clubs. And what's the other three? The three of diamonds, hearts, spades,
You have double nines.
clubs. Yeah, three of clubs. It's right behind the three of spades. They kind of sit side by side. So that fear and that worry, I think, mental fear, mental worry from the three of spades is. I don't know. I don't know if they have it worse than me, but it kind of seems like it.
Well, my whole little pit, I was just looking, interestingly enough, and this is, how I see these cards, like it just makes sense. All 4 threes have 2 sevens and 2 nines in their spread. That's a bitch. Like, if you don't know like that, how important, like that's important. Those are the most challenging energies. If you don't understand, you know what I mean? Like, oh my God. So it's just fascinating to me because, like I said, having the sevens and the nines like that, all of them do. It just makes even more sense. And that's why, again, 3 of them transform into 4s, because it's like, it is having that faith and knowing that you're going to be good. Like it didn't give you this to punish you. It gave you this to grow. It gave you this to see that your creative ability and trusting yourself and really can lead you to much more solid places. Don't doubt yourself. Don't look outside yourself. Those the sevens and the nines are nothing but going, like, understanding who you are and really, letting, kind of releasing the things that hold you back. And what's crazy about the 3 of spades, they have the Queen of Spades and Jupiter. They really can be like some of the most ultimate healers, but they have to, heal themselves and do that work within, and then they can go out and, really like be like gurus in that way of health, like very health conscious and nurturing, and can really help others, bring them to higher levels of healing. So
see, I actually think it's very exciting to have sevens and nines. And I think the life of a 3, though it sounds roller coaster like at times, it's a lot of adventure. And I think what you're saying is true, Gina, that when you can trust that it's happening for you and it's going to keep changing, and that you want to keep your faith and keep your focus on the things that you want, you can create a beautiful life with that 3. I mean, I think even my karma card of the 3 of clubs, like, the more I become clear about who I am and why I'm here, that card is less of a negative karma.
Right. Because when you
But
think
until
about
I
it,
get that, until I have that, then that's like, oh my God. And then, oh my God. Like, if I'm all over and dispersed, then I'm not necessarily able to focus the clarity that comes with that deep faith, and that knowing that things begin and they end, and they begin and they end over and over again. And you'll be surprised how many times it's not even that different, but it begins and it ends.
and you're supporting karma cards of 7. So there you have
I
it.
know. That's what I was gonna say. She would say she doesn't mind threes and the seven. She's supported by both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, challenged by one, supported by the seven.
But you see how they even in that space come together, like in again,
Say that.
seeing that why they travel together, why they're in the spread, like just really like comprehending that. And yes, the sevens and nines are some of the most powerful and beautiful energy when you can see it that way. And I think because I have 2 nines right off the rip. I've had to really, when I first was learning and understand, I was like, oh God, that's rough. But now I changed my perception on those nines. I can really see, and I also transform into a 4. So it's how I connected that. Like in my, I actually have always been like, oh, I'm better. So what are you tripping about? Why are you stop worrying. It's you that do that causes that.
And as a Jack, like we were talking in the Clubhouse room, which I don't know why you weren't there, Gina. I hope you come back. But Tuesday night, but how Jacks can let go and grow, like they are that way. Like they may save somebody and get involved, but when they're done, they're done. And that's a gift to be done.
I think I hold a little longer. I'm working on the being able, like that's been a big thing.
It's a
but
gift to be
I
done
see
because
the
it means
beauty
it can
in
be
it.
new again. What?
I see the beauty in it now. Instead of seeing the other side of it, the dark and that was the key of me connecting the nines being the light at the end of the tunnel. You have to see it. And like it's really how you see it, how you perceive it. And life will teach you, like you will go through experiences to show you that the letting go, there was beauty in letting go. There wasn't loss in letting go. There was actually, you gained more.
And things are moving like a kaleidoscope. All those things are still going to be there, but different. But you're letting go of it the way it is so that you don't continue to be compromised in the way that you became in whatever pattern was created and whatever you did.
Yep.
So every time you release a piece, you grow back the potential to have the same pattern or a different one. But that letting go to grow is key.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And graduation, like you say, you letting go and you graduating, you learning. It's only a detriment or fail if you're not learning. You know what it is that you learn, and letting it go. And it's an evolution. And nines can hold grudges. You know, you can hold on to things. You remember things. You know, it's not a simple let go. I was just explaining to someone last night that there's a gift into there's a gift in their ability to remember things. You know, they have a great memory. You know, but it's also a curse as well, because when
you don't forget,
you don't forget. You don't
forget that.
And so it's a gift and a curse, because when you don't forget things and you hold on to long, it starts to affect your mood. You know, you start to remember those old emotions. You know, and those things start to become reminders, and it just becomes, you know, just a headache after that.
And that's why you sweat them out.
Yeah.
But I have to go. I have an 8 o'clock. So I have a 10 o'clock, whatever the heck. I'm still playing time games. But I'll see you Saturday. Gina, next Tuesday we'll be back in the Clubhouse, you know, seeing if we'll revive the Tuesday room. But it is going to start later. We're going to go for a later start, like at 9 at night, because when people are hanging out and they might want to listen. So we're going to do it like that and see how it goes. And we'll be back here next Thursday. And we're also in November, that Couples Fishbowl is being reactivated, but we're doing just Wednesday free, kind of come in and talk about relationships awareness. So if anyone wants to deep dive into their couple, I do include the cards when I talk about it, but we're mostly just looking at the patterns and a lot of the ability to let go, because the triggers feed each other and we want to be able to recognize our triggers and soften back. But we'll see. But that's the dreams that are happening. And the Sisterhood Satsang is happening Friday night, you know. So if anybody's inclined, you know, gwtestfamily.com, or just DM me or whatever. I'll tell you what the fun stuff is if there's a part for you. Thanks for coming in from Nigeria. Sorry I gotta go, but keep having fun. I appreciate you both a lot.
Awesome. Yeah, I think later for Tuesday I could do that. Would probably be better for me, because I'm still like with the kids, and once basketball season starts, that may change. But yeah, later would be way better, I think, now.
Yeah, for me too, because it was too hard. It was like dinner hour. Being here, it was just like, I can't keep doing this. It was just I wasn't present, and it's no fun then.
Okay.
So and Rashad, when you get out to California, you settle, I'm definitely ready to do you know, meet you halfway or do something. So let's talk about how we actually I live close to California now.
Cool. No problem.
All right, talk to you later, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I'll have to jump off in like a minute or two. So
Okay. No. So just in closing, I guess Gina does have classes coming up as well. So you want to tell me a little bit about your classes?
Yes. No, we've started.
Well, that started.
Yeah, we started. This Saturday will be week 3. It's been going really, really good. And I will start another session, because it's an 8-week session, and I will start another 8-week session in December. Probably about the maybe second week in December is when I'm thinking it'll start. So if you're interested in the information now, please reach out to me either through Instagram or email me at guidedbythecards@gmail.com. I can send you over the information, and, you know, I'll probably, depending on the interest, you know, I don't want it to be too, I like intimate. So, you know, we'll see how it goes. It's been really, really good. I've been really excited to do it, and really good energy within the class.
So you started during the Ace of Spades week?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Started during the Ace of Spades week. I know it's some gems in there, so I'll have to join myself once I get a little bit more settled. What days is it on? Is it
on Saturdays? Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern time. I may, do it a little later the next session, but probably it'll be Saturdays because it just works better for me and for I think most people who work during the day. Even though I can do it during the day, I don't think a lot of people can come. And nighttime for me is just harder, especially with basketball season about to start again. So I think the daytime is just, it works better for me.
Yeah. And just again, we talk about the cards of the week just to give you an overview of the weekly energy, signs, symbols, so it may come. Especially this week, it's been a lot of talk about relationships. Will and Jada, such a three of spades thing. Everyone is over it. That's just because the third space has the seven of clubs and Venus, so that's relationship gossip as well. Like so, someone commented on the video that I posted about Jada. They was like, "Oh my gosh, can someone press stop on this on this Will movie, Will and Jada thing?" So yeah, we know you're tired of it. You're over it. Three of spades week. We all are to a certain extent, but there's some gems that of spirituality that comes because nothing happens for a reason, and that's why we come to the cards. I was over it too, but I had to say, let me stop and look at what she's going through spiritually. And the cards help you look at other people's life and yourself from an empathetic point of view. It makes you realize and really focus on the energy and what needs to be learned, more or less what you want and what you want to see. It's kind of like these inevitable events, knowing that people do things based upon their energy. So thank you all for joining. Hopefully you've got some information, and these cards also show up in your weekly readings or your yearly spreads. You may have a Will and Jada moment or three of spades in your yearly where you're just over everything. So, this is what you'll learn in Gina's classes. She'll show you how to break down and show you how to find your weekly spread, find your yearly spread, and and learn how to decipher it and read it for yourself.
Yep.
And see what energies are coming into your life and what's speaking to you naturally. So, thank you all, and we'll see you all next week for the Four Spades week. That is your transformation, right, Gina?
Mm-hmm. And that's what and actually that's what we kind of went over last week in the class was we went through, I had made a calendar with all the weekly energies and, shared it with everybody so that they don't just pay attention to your birth card, pay attention to your Jupiter card, all of them. Like whatever whatever the weekly energy is, how is that in relation to you personally? And then go even deeper. Where is it for your year? Because that could be a significant week that is, helping you, make some changes throughout your year. So you connect it like that. And that is definitely something that we were focusing last week on with the class is to kind of, here's the calendar, how does it relate to you, other people, like even for the Ace of Spades week, I'm the Jupiter card for the Ace of Spades. And it was such a great week, and being able to connect that, like it makes sense. I talk about how when the Queen of Clubs week, because I'm the Pluto card, it's a little bit more challenging for me, so you pay attention to that. So whatever, if it's your challenging karma card, definitely pay attention to that week. It's probably going to teach you something. It's going to probably, something could happen more for your path, your destiny. You know what I mean? Because it's a very strong connected card to you. So yeah, everybody should know that. I feel it helps you maneuver through the energy better.
And takes accountability as well.
Yes.
For your own energy and what's taking place with you. Like I said, it's a way to gain empathy and sympathy for yourself and what you're going through. And see that certain things are happening inevitably for me to learn. For me to see and for me to digest and for maybe for me to sit with. And like you said, that's why this science isn't just a learn overnight. After the 8 may want to come back for another 8 weeks or the year, because you want to learn every single card because every week you have 7 new cards, so 52 weeks out the year, you're going to go through all of these cards. So it's best to learn.
That's the best teacher. And I swear to you, that's the best teacher is you being just aware of what that is. And then paying attention to that. That to me is some of the best way to learn, but you just got to know okay, this is a 3 of Spades week. And if you are a 3 of Spades or it's your Pluto card or if it's your transformation card or if it's your Jupiter card or whatever, how it's connected to you can by far, in my opinion, teach you better than most stuff, because you're experiencing it. You will understand that energy better because you've experienced it. That's the best teacher, you know.
And that's why I say these cards, we speak and talk them, and naturally, because that's the third space, is the spiritual and physical experience that takes place. You know, nothing that you can talk about. It's something that happens, and when it happens, that's when the lesson is learned. You know, you can't read a book of philosophy and now you're a philosopher. You're gonna have to experience it. You're gonna
Yeah.
have to experience it. You're gonna have to go through it to learn these things, and that's why we're living life. You know, that's why they say most adults and people don't. Most people don't really mature, you know, until they're in their 40s and 30s. You know, come into manhood because you haven't experienced life yet. You know,
Right.
The men don't age or get to the maturities until they're in their mid 30s. You know, it's kind of hard to learn and be a man and you haven't experienced a lot of things. So have sympathy. You know, have give people time. You know, to learn these things and experience these things, and most definitely going through the cards and learning the cards is going to help you and accelerate it a little bit. You know, and teach you and give you the ability to put your wear the shoes of other people, you know, walk through other people's shoes so you can understand what they're going through. Because when you experience, like Gina said, when she went through the three of clubs, she knows exactly what the three of clubs is going through. Now she
Yeah.
has a little bit more sympathy and
Yeah.
understanding for their life, you know, but you only get a snapshot, you know, you got to
Yeah.
think.
That was enough. That was enough.
So in closing, thank you all. See you all next week for the Four Space Week. And go to Gina's Instagram to sign up for her classes. And we'll see you all later.
Bye, guys. Thank you. Bye, Rashad.
Bye.